Good evening, everyone, and welcome to This Week from Rockdale. And I am your host, Larry Cox. And I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Let me go ahead and say hello to some people tonight, and let the chat grow a little bit. Let's see who we got on here so far tonight. We have Mary Boysworth. We have Miss Russo on here. We have Bill Campbell. We have George Kelichek. Welcome to the show, everybody. And as more people say hello, I'll say howdy to some more folks. We'll let this show build up before we start talking about some issues. I just want Jill Odom. Welcome to the show tonight, Jill. Great to have you here. I just want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Angela Moore, poverty is right. So, Angela, we're going to talk about, Rockdale County and Newton County both have been awarded the CEP grants from the Department of Agriculture, which I'm all for us getting those grants. But we're going to talk about something. It's not, in my opinion, it's not something for us to brag about or be glad for. And I'm going to explain why it's not something that we should relish and be great. I mean, we should be grateful that we're able to get the grants, but we should not be grateful for the conditions that allow us to get the grants. So Dan Burks, welcome to the show. Josh Allgood, Charlotte Gellert, welcome to the show. So we got an interesting show tonight. We're going to talk about that, and just want to thank everybody who this past week attended the Board of Education millage rate hearings. They were interesting. It was great to see a lot of people there. I went and spoke. It was a packed house, and that's not the usual circumstances for Board of Education meetings. They usually have very few people there, but we had a packed room at the Board of Education facility in Rockdale County this week, and it was glad to see all those citizens there this week. So let's talk about the CEF program and the Rockdales and Newton counties both being approved for those grants, which will enable all students in Rockdale and Newton counties to receive free breakfast and lunch. Now, how does a school district go about qualifying for that CEP, the community eligibility provision? Well, you have to be a school district that is identified in a severe area of poverty. Your district has to be located in an area that has been identified that is in a severe area of poverty. And they identify that by individuals who are participating in the SNAP program, the Supplement Nutrition Assistance Program, and the TANF program, which is the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. So they look at people who are in financial hardship. They look at the poverty level, and if the percent of the community reaches or enough of them are on assistance, then the area automatically qualifies for reimbursement of what they spend on breakfast and lunches on the schools at the school system because of severe poverty in that district. Now, guys, is it just me, or should we actually strive not to qualify for one of those grants? I mean, we don't want to be an area of severe poverty to get these grants. We would like to be an area of robust economic growth, to where everyone makes above the median income. Where if we have individuals who need assistance, free lunch and reduced, then they apply, do the application process, and then they're awarded those programs. Because even if we wouldn't get this grant, any child in need that they fill out the paperwork would be able to get free and reduced lunch. It's just filling out the application. But what's going on here is because we qualify for a grant through the Department of Agriculture, the community eligibility provision is that Rockdale and Newton counties are in high areas of poverty. Now, we've been hearing for the last several years how good Newton County's doing and how great they are and the prosperity. But apparently, they're not as prosperous as they claim they are because they qualified for this grant before Rockdale did. Uh, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous that we are able to qualify for this because of the economic conditions in these counties. Rockdale County needs to invest in this county. We need to invest in our county, improve our business environment, improve the living conditions of our residents. Now, it gets even worse. We got a Rockdale County school system who has applied for a grant that is awarded to a school district who is seen as an area in severe poverty. But over the last 2 years, they have raised taxes on the individuals in poverty by 26.87%. We are an area who has been identified to be in economic distress, a severe poverty area, and we're raising taxes at a significant rate. Now, it gets even worse when we look at what the Board of Commission and the Board of Education have done to taxpayers in what I'm going to call rural Rockdale or all of Rockdale. Because I'm not going to add the city's numbers. I'm just going to do the county as a whole, the BOC and the BOE. The Board of Commission, with their proposed tax increase this year, will have raised taxes 33.57% over the last 2 years. Now, that brings that to a total of over 60% tax increase on properties in Rockdale County by the city and the BOC to an area who now qualifies for a grant to get every student free lunch and breakfast because we have been identified as an area of high poverty. Then you've got the Board of Commission in the city who have voted and there are implementing high density housing. If anyone has studied one of the impacts that high density housing has on a community, it increases the poverty level. So we've got an area that has been identified as a high poverty level because we're qualifying for grants that give all students free lunch and breakfast. You've got the Board of Education raising property taxes, the Board of Commission raising property taxes, the City of Conyers raising property taxes, the City of Conyers approving high density housing, and the city and the county approving high density housing, which all impact economic development and growth in a community like this. Again, one of the things that we've seen that high density housing does to an area is it increases the poverty rate. High density housing has a direct correlation of increased poverty. So we've got government officials who are contributing to the increased poverty level in this community by their actions, taxing, and the way they're building. Guys, we've got to get this under control. I know we've just elected some new people to the Board of Education, myself, and we've elected some people to the Board of Commission. We've got to make sure that these boards are informed that they've got to turn this around. That the way to do this is not increase taxes when we are in a high poverty area. And look, we've been identified as a high poverty area because we qualify for a grant that only high poverty areas get. We've got to turn this ship around, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to do our due diligence, watch our spending. But we also have to look at develop true economic development and growth for this community. We actually have to bring uh, good paying jobs to this area. We have to bring up the educational scale in this county so that when we do bring these uh, um, jobs here, we're preparing a workforce for these jobs, and that's how you get these jobs to come is by preparing this workforce. Then we're building 350,000 to $500,000 townhomes and and apartments, and nobody's going to buy. People are not buying these, so don't buy into the hype that people are buying these. They are not buying these, and what's going to eventually happen when these places don't sell, they don't lease them, they will become low income housing, and we add to the problem of poverty. Clayton, Oregon, you have a great point. It's almost like there's a desire for urbanization, but only the negative aspects. And I agree. It, I met with somebody the other day, and they talked about these townhomes and this and that, and they talked about the sidewalks and stuff. And I said, "Yeah, but the sidewalks go to nowhere. You've got sidewalks that go to the edge of the street. They don't lead you anywhere. It's not like you can walk to anywhere." Uh, uh, to anywhere from these sidewalks. They dead end on the side of the street. Yeah, there are nice looking sidewalks right in front of those developments that go nowhere. We've heard about bridges to nowhere, highways to nowhere. In Rockdale County, we are building the sidewalks to nowhere. They don't take you anywhere. They're just cosmetic and they're in the front of your complex. They're the sidewalks to nowhere. Let's see some comments from you guys on here, right? And Chuck Hall, it's going to take us years to dig out of this. And Chuck, you are actually correct. You are absolutely correct. It's going to take us years to dig out, but we have to start digging out. And that's the problem and the point that I want to bring up is we've got to start digging out and not just uh, fortifying. We're like fortifying a foxhole is what we're doing. We're fortifying the ditch. We're not trying to dig ourselves out. We're fortifying this positioning with bad decision making. We want to bring in this housing that doesn't make sense for Rockdale County. We want to not look. The other day, superintendent did make a point when he talked about we shouldn't want to defund or punish students because we are not performing. And I agree 1,000%. We shouldn't defund education because we're not performing. We need to find out why we're not performing. But his thing about it, even in his little speech, he was denying they weren't performing. There's room for improvement, but we can't deny or not talk about the excellence that's going on. I'm not going to say we don't have great things going on in the school system. We do. There are great things going on in the school system, but there's also a lot of not great things going on in this school system. Uh, uh, and that's ridiculous. Angela, they're not on a MARTA route. They're not. We don't have MARTA in Rockdale County. Well, we got the buses over that pick up at two different places at the sheriff's station, and the buses pick up over at the Springfield. But we don't have that in Rockdale County. And these sidewalks are just sidewalks that are in front of these complexes, and they go to nowhere. Come over, Angela. You and I are going to take a little tour in Rockdale County, and I'll take and show you some of these things. Sometimes it's just crazy. No, Alex, you're getting a little bit crazy with that defunding education. That's not even something that's feasible or realistic, and we're not even going to pay attention to that. We love you, but we're not going to pay attention to that defund education nonsense because that's as much nonsense as defunding the police. It really is. So we're not even going to pay attention to that nonsense. Guys, we've got to start somewhere, right? And we start by acknowledging we have problems. We start by acknowledging we have problems. Uh, we've got to identify problems that we have, and we've got to start fixing those problems in our education. But unless we admit we have a problem, we're not going to work on that problem, and that's the issue we have right now with our current uh, educational system. We do not admit we have problems to focus on correcting them. Uh, that's just what it is. So, guys, I'm just telling you, we need to focus on real issues here in Rockdale County, real economic development, real job growth, real preparation of students to fill these positions that we're going to need. Uh, and that's just, what we need to do. We need to do the right things and in the right order. We've started the process, I believe, in Rockdale County by electing different people. We've elected some new people to the Board of Education, myself, one person, which swings the direction of that board. And we've elected a new majority to the Board of Commission. And by electing that new commission and swinging the direction of the Board of Education, then we're able to begin the process in Rockdale County to move in a different direction. But it's going to still be up to you, the citizens, to hold uh, newly elected officials accountable, and elected officials that got reelected, holding them accountable, because you've asked for certain things and you deserve certain things. This is representative government, and the purpose of representative government is for the representatives to find out what the people want, and then it's their job to do it. Yes, Tucker does agree. He is in full agreement with the policies that I've talked about. Yes, Tucker is hungry because my wife just got home from taking the grandkids to the movie, and when my wife comes home, Tucker Cox demands his snack, and that's exactly what's going on right now. Tucker Cox is demanding his snack because he is on the free lunch and breakfast program here at the Cox household. So just so y'all know, Tucker Cox demands his snack when one of us come home. But guys, I believe we can make a difference in Rockdale County. I believe that the voters of Rockdale County voted for people who are sincere about change. They actually reelected some people like Angela Moore, who are serious about. By the way, Alex says I've designed sidewalks to nowhere. If it requires a sidewalk, yet the main thoroughway has no sidewalks, all you and it dead ends, and that's exactly what happened. So Alex knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm telling the truth. They are sidewalks to nowhere, and they dead end. So guys, we can make a difference here in Rockdale County. We started in the right direction by voting new people in and change of leadership. We reelected some people like Angela Moore and Rhonda Taylor to represent us here in Rockdale County, and I believe that we are going to things are going to change. I believe we can do the right things and we can make a difference. So we need to show the citizens of Rockdale County that we took them seriously. We don't take their vote for granted, and we're here to do the right things by them. Clayton, I would appreciate a realistic goal. There is so much money being spent on education, and our performance is so poor. Let's try to catch up with our Metro Atlanta peers at a minimum. Clayton, 100% agree with that. Is we need realistic goals, but to set those realistic goals, we have to admit that we're having a problem, right? Uh, uh, that's what we need to do. Uh, we need to admit that we have problems, and that's been a big part of the problem. Um, that we've not admitted, and we've failed to admit that we have problems that we need to address. Um, when I take the board, I'm going to admit we have those problems. I told you guys last week my first town hall is going to be September 10th. Angela, I have not forgot about setting your town hall up. George Kellencheck and I are going to be working on getting that venue, and it'll be September. That we'll be getting a hold of you here in the next week, and giving you some dates that we'll be able to set that town hall up on a Saturday in September. So just let everybody know Representative Moore will also be having town halls in South Rockdale in her district, and we're working on getting her some venues lined up for that. So we're looking forward to having those town halls in South Rockdale, and we're looking forward to having our representative Angela Moore coming here and talking to us and letting us know what the legislature has done this past session, and let's talking to her about what we can do in the future. Uh, and we do need to use funds appropriately for education. And just like Joy says, not everyone has the ability to homeschool, and uh, and that's right. Uh, I agree with that 1,000%. Uh, September 10th is a Tuesday. Yes, it is a Tuesday. My town hall, the Board of Education town hall, will be on a Tuesday, September the 10th. Um, Angela Moore's town hall will be on a Saturday sometime in September, and we will be determining that. But yes, my town hall will be on Tuesday, September the 10th, my first town hall. But I'll be getting back with you guys on more details about that as far as to when and what time. So, but there's where we go with that. Uh, so, guys, I'm just telling you, we've got a great chance to make progress in Rockdale County. And we're going to be able to do that by working together, coming up with ideas together, uh, and and doing the right thing. Yes, Corliss, don't forget the July 26th, 10 a.m. Uh, 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 town hall with Rhonda Taylor at the library. And it's going to be every fourth Saturday. Uh, Angela Moore, Angela, you can answer that in the chat, but I know Angela supports a senior exemption for Rockdale County because I think Angela told me that every other county that she did represent Henry and DeKalb, and both of them have senior exemptions. So I think Angela had even told me before she didn't understand why Rockdale didn't have one, and she's definitely on board with trying to help the seniors of Rockdale County with senior exemptions. Just so her and I have talked about it. So Representative Moore, I mean, I'm speaking for her, but we've had that conversation, and she's pledged that she's going to help senior citizens in Rockdale County. So I mean, just to let you know, that's part of the thing that Representative Moore will talk about at her town hall when we have that town hall in September. And like I said, Mr. Kellicek and I are going to be working on getting a venue for that, and we'll hopefully we can have something done and get with Angela and have that scheduled by next week. So that's what we're going to do. So guys, I'm just telling you, I think that we can make a great difference in this county. I think that we are, and I think you, the voters, have started it. You're very involved. You're educating each other. You're making your fellow citizen aware of what's going on. You're letting other voters know, these people aren't representing you. They're not doing what you ask them to do. And point blank, you've said, if we're not listened to, we're not going to continue supporting you. And you shouldn't. You should not continue to support individuals who do not actually represent you. That's the idea of representative government, that they come from the community and they represent the desire of the community. And it's your community, it's your desires, and you need to make sure that the citizens of Rockdale County, their voices heard. So, guys, I have been on here close to 30 minutes. Tell you what I'm going to do. Not going to hold you this Sunday evening. You've been a great audience. You've indulged me for the last half hour. I've got to talk to you about this. Anybody who wants to come out and speak, there's a couple of millage rate hearings this week. There's millage rate hearings at the Board of Commission this week on Tuesday. And then you have another one at the Board of Education this coming Thursday at 6:30. Show up at these meetings. Let your voice be heard. Let the people that represent you know they're supposed to represent you, and you want them to represent you. I want to thank each and every one of you for just being a great audience, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday on This Week from Rockdale. A good night, and until next Sunday.